Hi, everyone. Good morning. I am so glad to see you again and to welcome you to our fourth session. Incredibly, as the saying says, time flies by when you're having fun. And I hope you are having fun. I've enjoyed teaching this course so much that I really don't pay attention to time. And I am enjoying every moment and listening to you and seeing your motivation towards your teaching and your students makes me reminds me of the importance of the job that I chose, that is becoming a teacher. Today, we're going to be having a panel, but before we do that, I need to share my screen so that I can explain what a panel is. I hope you can see my presentation here. This is my PowerPoint. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. Remember, this is the course Stimulating Language Interaction in the Classroom, and everything we have done so far has been with the idea of promoting different activities in our classes so that our students feel stimulated to communicate. So this is a slide that is very important because these are presentation techniques. That is, when you have a lot of information and a very short period of time to exchange that information to the persons that are listening to you or to the persons that are attending as a group one of these activities, they are very effective. For example, the first one is called a lecture. The correct translation of a lecture is una conferencia. So a lecture is a formal presentation by an expert and sometimes followed by question and answer period. That is a lecture. It's very effective. It's an oral presentation technique, and the presenter can use different aids. For example, the PowerPoint, Prezi, a video. They can show realia, things that exist that he or she can touch and people can observe. He can demonstrate things, he can explain a procedure, he can share a theoretical approach, etc., etc. So it's very good when you have a lot of things to say, but in a very short period of time. Another technique or oral technique presentation is called the panel. And a panel is when you have two or more speakers sitting on the stage, and they are the experts, and each of them are presenting their own points of view, and they are discussing a topic. Sometimes they generate a discussion among themselves, but sometimes they just give an opinion, and people that are listening to, they can ask questions as well. Everything is very organized, and it's a discussion guided by a moderator, and that's panel. Another form of a panel is called the forum. And here in a panel discussion, people don't necessarily have the same point of view. So it's kind of a debate. There are some fixed positions towards a topic. So one person can be for the topic or against the topic, and they have their arguments and they present their reasons on each of these topics. So there is a lot of discussion between them. It says here that the forum is a panel discussion taking opposite sides of an issue by experts in a given field with liberal opportunity for the audience participation. And then we have a symposium. It's another presentation technique. A panel discussion by experts in a given field before a large audience. So this is similar in the panel, forum, and symposium. The other difference is that some audience participation is included, but less than in a forum. That means in the symposium, most of the people go to listen and be quiet, take notes, and observe what happens with the members of the panel. For today, we're going to be working with the panel. So we're going to have two or more speakers. In this case, for today, there will be 2, 3, 4 persons. 4 of you will be the members of the panel, okay? 4 people will start a viewpoint with discussion between them, and the discussion will be guided by a moderator. At the end, I will let the rest of the members of this group to participate by asking questions to the members of the panel. Is that clear? Do you understand what a panel is? Do you understand that it's a type of oral presentation technique and that it is very effective because you have experts and each of the experts is giving his or her point of view?
Yes, teacher.
And the idea,
clear. Thank you.
perfect. And
Yes,
the
I
idea
do.
is not that we agree or disagree with what they say. The idea is that we open our minds to different points of view, that we expand our consciousness and awareness on a certain topic. That's what we need to do. That's what the panel is for. It's not to alienate the thought. No, it's to receive different points of view. We will be very respectful about what they say, but we need, in general, to learn from them. So it's a learning opportunity. Now, to do that, for the panel, we need the 4 experts. And for the 4 experts, I have different ways of selecting the members of the panel. The first one is that all of you will nominate one person to be in the panel. Okay, let me stop sharing. And let me tell you how we're going to do that. 1 second. I need to prepare this here.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. This is the question. Whose opinions would you like to hear in today's panel? Please nominate a partner. Ustedes mismos van a seleccionar a uno de los integrantes del panel, solamente a uno. Así que ustedes van a decidir a quién quieren seleccionar. Les voy a mandar este link a su chat y por favor empiecen a opinar para que todos veamos quién será la primera persona que integrará el panel. Esta decisión la deciden entre todos ustedes. So, give me a chance and there you go. Ya les está llegando a su chat la liga. Por favor, vayan opinando. Y conforme van opinando, dice, queremos que Ángeles Main participe como miembro de este panel. Julián, piden que Julián participe en el panel. Ángeles Main. Y conforme se van repitiendo, vamos a ver cómo la aplicación va a ir haciendo agrupaciones. Irene Tapia, Ángeles Main, Ángeles Main. Teresa Olmos, muy bien. Whose opinions would you like to hear in today's panel? Please nominate a partner. Irene Tapia, Julián, llevan la misma cantidad de votos, va ganando hasta este momento.
¿Por qué votan por mí? Yo no quiero participar.
No, maestra, la están. Todos quieren escuchar su punto de vista.
¿Cómo?
Quieren escuchar su punto de vista.
No, están votando otros compañeros.
Ángeles
No,
Main.
pues digo, ¿y por qué votan por mí?
Es popular, maestra. Okay. Ángeles Main.
Yo voté por Ángeles Main. Con ella me fui al
Elena
Congreso.
Jaimes.
¿Ya te lo envié, amor?
¿Vas a ver, Irene?
Ay, ay. Okay. Let's see. Hagamos conteo, a ver, de Ángeles Main. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 nominations, 7 nominations. Irene, 1, 2 nominations. Julian, 1, 2. Okay, Irene, 3 nominations. Well, I guess Angel Spain is the first member of our panel. Give her a hand, please, everybody. Felicitamos a Angel Spain. Ella integra nuestro primer miembro del panel. Okay.
Thanks so much for I'm sleeping today.
How do you feel, Angeles? The question was, who would you like to listen to? Whose opinion are you interested in listening to? And the group has decided that they want to hear you. They want to hear what you have to say. So I think you should consider it an honor and it is not a punishment, okay?
No, yes, indeed. Thank you very much. I
Okay,
appreciate
congratulations.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Okay, we need to choose one more person. And to choose that person, I'm going to ask for a volunteer. Necesitamos alguno de ustedes que de manera personal diga, a mí me gustaría formar parte de este panel de discusión. Volunteers? Only one person.
I would like to.
Irene quiere participar. ¿Quién más?
Me.
This is me, Norma.
Norma. We have Norma and Irene. Okay, let's see. Irene, Norma. Ok, vamos a poner ahorita las dos y ahorita decidimos. La primera
de
en
hecho, yo ya
responder
estaba.
fue Irene, ¿correcto?
Sí, maestro, de hecho yo ya estaba. Yo hablé para animar a una Miss.
Ok,
Pero yo soy Irene Tapia ya.
ok,
Oh, sí, gracias.
ok. Now let's see. That would be the volunteer. Y los otros personas que tenemos van a ser seleccionadas por sorteo. Nadie sabe quién va a ser. Va a ser un sorteo. Y les voy a explicar cómo lo pueden hacer ustedes con sus alumnos cuando queremos que la participación sea muy democrática y no haya trampas ni ningún tipo de preferencia para elegir a alguien. Les muestro cómo. Ok. Let's see. Déjenme abrir la otra pantalla. Ok. There you go. Ustedes pueden buscar esta aplicación directamente en su buscador de Google. Se llama App Sorteos. Y sirve para que ustedes puedan hacer una rifa para seleccionar a alguna persona, para integrar algún panel como el día de hoy. Y lo que tenemos que hacer es anotar a todos los integrantes del grupo. Y aquí están todos sus nombres. Y después nos vamos a opciones. En opciones, queremos seleccionar un panel member. El ganador va a ser 1, pero vamos a poner 3 suplentes por cualquier cosa de que el ganador número 1 diga, pues honestamente no hice mi tarea y no vengo listo. Entonces nos vamos con el que sigue. Pero tendrá que mencionarlo en voz alta de que no hizo el trabajo. Ok. Y vamos a poner una cuenta regresiva para que todos estemos contando números y lo vamos a poner que sea en 10. Si estamos de acuerdo, le damos confirmar y empieza la máquina a hacer su magia para seleccionar a los ganadores. ¿Me ayudan a contar? Can you help me count? Let's begin. 10, 9, 8,
7,
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah, Diana Patricia Pliego Martinez is the next member of the panel.
Excellent.
Maestra Diana Patricia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you accept being a
Yes.
member of the panel?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Entonces tenemos
I'm
Ángeles,
lucky.
Irene, Diana Patricia, Norma quiere participar también Entonces, eso dejaría fuera a Espejel Cuate Rocío de Jesús, Antonio Guzmán González y José Luis Rivera Ponce. ¿Algunos de ustedes que están como suplentes se sienten tristes porque ya no pertenecerán al panel? Creo que ni están. Bueno, ok. Diana
I was going to
Patricia
say,
Priego.
sorry.
Yes.
I was going to say if some of them want to, go ahead. But well, they didn't answer, so I'm ready.
No. You can participate in the panel. Thanks for volunteering. Okay. So let's stop sharing. And we're about to begin with our panel. Para el panel, les voy a pedir a las 4 personas que fueron seleccionadas para que sean las integrantes del panel. Ángeles Main, que encienda su cámara. Irene Tapia, que encienda su cámara. Norma, también. Y Diana Patricia. Y todos los demás apagamos nuestra cámara. Yo me voy a quedar con la cámara encendida para poder ir conduciendo el debate. Diana, Norma, Ángeles, ¿y me falta uno?
Me.
Irene.
¿Tiene forma de tener la cámara encendida, Irene?
Teacher, right now I don't have a camera, but I
You don't
can
have-
see and I can listen and I can present and everything.
Okay.
Can I?
Yes, you can.
Oh,
Pero
let
siempre
me
eso
see
va a
if I can
dificultar
change.
la comunicación, ¿ok?
Es que no se bañó, Irene.
Yeah, let me change, please. Let me change. No, of course, always.
Just kidding.
Déjame me
beauty friend.
cambio de teléfono. Espera.
Okay. Well, what she does, what she needs to do, we will continue. Let me share with you the presentation for today. So, the discussion panel is called Motivating Mighty Students in the English Class. The 3 different questions that the panel will respond are: how useful is English, and how do you create a good atmosphere, and how do you create an English environment in the classroom? These are guiding questions, but you don't have to feel limited, okay? The only thing that will limit you is the time. So I have my watch here ready and my stopwatch, and you will be given 2 minutes to start talking on the first item. How useful is English, and how do you connect this topic to the general idea of motivating my students in the English class? Okay, are you ready? So let's begin with Ángeles Main. Please, Ángeles Main. Today we're discussing how to motivate our students in the English class. And we want to talk. Déjenme ver si estoy grabando. Excuse me.
Yes, you are.
Yes, porque estoy como
It's
muy
recording.
emocionado y no sé si estoy grabando. Yes? Okay, I trust you. Okay, and it is very important for us to know your point of view. Let's begin by the question, how useful is English, and how do you connect English to motivation for your students? You have 2 minutes, and I will interrupt your participation when the 2 minutes are up. Let's begin.
Okay, can I read part of my essay so I can get
Of
the
course,
idea?
of course, of course.
Okay, the topic to my essay was motivation as the key to get the students attracted to learning a foreign language. Most of all know that learning a language is difficult because of the linguistic interference, and the difficulty it represents when there's no interest to it at all. Our first goal as teachers should be to generate the conditions and environment for the students to be interested and enthusiastic when learning a language, in this case, English. How useful it is, I would say that English is a worldwide used language. It's spoken in most of the countries and is the key to open many doors worldwide. For instance, in the simplest ways to communicate, to travel and have a successful career. It depends on the interest of the students, what professional goal they want to reach. It's here when we as teachers must intervene by explaining to students how important learning English is, okay? So in this case, I try to motivate my students by telling them how useful the language is, how it opens many doors worldwide, from the simplest part of traveling, of crossing a border, to the way to maybe to get a scholarship abroad. So I have to make clear to that they can have simplest opportunities or higher opportunities as much as they want. So that's why I mention them how useful it is, from the simplest thing to the hardest one. It depends what they want to do, but I let them know and make them think that they're capable and very intelligent to reach a goal, to reach the highest goal. As if they were hiking a mountain, they can get to the top as much as they want. So that's why I would answer this question. You're muted.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It has been a very clear way of starting this discussion in the panel. Thanks so much for sharing with us your thoughts and your comments and part of your investigation. Now,
Thank you.
Okay, can I?
Wait, Ángeles Main is from Cuernavaca and she works for Colegio de Bachilleres del Estado de Morelos. Thank you so much. Let's give her a hand, everybody, please. Congratulations. Now,
Thank you, guys.
we will listen to the second member of the panel, and her name is Irene Tapia. The same
Okay.
question for you, Irene. Go ahead.
Okay, how will I create a good atmosphere? Teacher, can I present for giving my explanation? Oh, I can listen to you. Su micrófono está apagado.
Sí. Es que lo apago para darles a ustedes la oportunidad de no ser interrumpidos.
Okay,
Perdón.
so sorry.
Okay.
Can I present something for try to explain better?
Okay, let me give you the privileges.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, can I present it?
Yes,
and
you can.
am I? Yes, and am
Yes.
I? No,
Yes.
yet.
No, you haven't begun yet the
Okay.
presentation, but you can.
Right now?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. Okay, please wait for me, please. Okay, well, hello, good morning. Thank you for being here in this very good group for discussion about this topic that is really interesting right now for the most of teachers. And at the beginning, I'm going to start with this kind of title that is motivating students. How can we motivate students right now? And actually, I think that it's not easy. It is sometimes complicated, even because sometimes when we are in a very big groups, sometimes the student asks to us, say, teacher, why don't you motivate us? And they wanted that we always laugh them, talk them, and make many kind of things. But a question will be if they motivate us too, because I think that this is a working person, no? Both, but first. And this is my first question. So, how can we motivate us? For me, I think that right, everyone wants to improve the spoken English skills nowadays, as it has become a necessity. So the teacher role is to motivate.
We stopped listening to you.
Something happens with her internet.
Mm-hmm.
Her screen got frozen.
Irene, can you hear us? Irene?
I'm afraid she thinks that we are continuing listening to her, but it
Okay.
stopped. So
It has
can
stopped.
someone help? Can someone send a message in the
Yes.
WhatsApp?
Okay, she's back.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm here again.
Okay.
I'm gonna again.
Continue.
Sorry. Yes. So sorry.
Maybe if she turned her camera off, she's not going to have any more problems
Okay, maybe we can trade that.
while presenting.
Okay, let me try it again. Can you see?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Sorry. Okay, so what I was saying that actually I think that it is not just important to know the English as a teachers. We have to know different kind of tools like good attitude, good materials, and maybe work with the technology that sometimes as a teacher is a little bit, well, it is not complicated, but sometimes we don't know all as a student. No, the student, they know more. And if they have a computer, an app, whatever kind of technology like an app, they can do whatever kind of thing that we ask them to do it. So let me give you the next. So motivate my students in my English class. What is the most important for me as a teacher said? As an English teacher, sometimes it's really difficult to motivate students, especially when they are not in a mood to learn. Actually, it is important to change the way of teaching. I mean, we do not have to focus with writing skills with very little new learning experiences and interesting materials and unclear links between languages courses. In this process of teaching and learning, English is in high school. Students' motivation to attracting the attention by using technology, what I was saying, you know? This reality, speaking English most of the time, work with interesting teenagers topics, communicate with the students in examples like living lectures, through books, in journals of famous people, and the most important to me, always arrive with the best attitude. For most of the students, using computers is so good that they want to.
I need to interrupt you, Irene, because you have spoken more than 2 minutes, and the panel has to follow certain structure. You will have another opportunity to continue to share your thoughts. So I don't want to stop sharing in this moment. And we want to thank Irene Tapia for being with us in this panel. And she also works in Plantel Cuernavaca, #1. Thank you so much. Okay, the next panel member is Norma. Norma, we would like to listen to your presentation, and remember, we are focusing on the first question, how useful English is. So link it to the idea of motivation. Go ahead, please.
Okay, morning, everybody. I won't present any. I'm just gonna give my point of view according to what I wrote in my essay. So I'm gonna start thinking about, about the topic. This is motivating my students. Firstly, I wrote in my essay that, firstly, it's important to know what is motivation for us. For us is, for example, if I understand that motivation is a feeling or a thought that I have in order to reach something, or in order to get or want to do something, I'm gonna do it. But I'm not motivated and I don't have a goal, it's difficult to get this or to reach this. Okay, so motivation, as we know, is one of the most important factors in the enjoyment and success of learning process. So especially in this case, learning a foreign language, right? So many students, they don't feel maybe comfortable or confident when they learn another language, because they are studying because maybe the family position, or maybe the students want to. We have to know firstly, what is the necessity of the student, why they want to learn English. In this way, I can motivate my student. As I said, some of them are studying because the family position. Another one is because the job requirement, they want to get a better job. Another one is because they want to go on vacation and they need to learn maybe the English fast. They want to learn English faster because they're gonna have vacation next year, or maybe because they want to get a degree. And well, there are many reasons. That's why they want to get or acquire the language. So if I know as a teacher what is the necessity of the students, I'm going to motivate in that way. Well, as also motivating. Also, we have to motivate students. We have to know that this is a process, okay? And this is gradually. And as a teacher, we must be patient. Firstly, we have to trust on our students. We have to work, we have to do a hard work, okay? We have to organize the students and know the students in order to know how to work with them. Maybe not one by one, but just covering the necessities. and make them understand what is useful for many areas. And I think for a while, that's it. I don't know if I have to continue to.
No, not in this moment. Thank you.
Okay.
You have done a marvelous job. She's Norma Cordes, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I hope I don't make any mistake by pronouncing the plantel where you work at. It's called Xochitepec.
Yes, Xochitepec.
Xochitepec. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Congratulations for participating. You've done a wonderful job. Okay, after hearing Norma, we're going to continue to close the first round of participations with Diana Patricia Pliego. Please begin your participation.
Okay, well, also I'm going to read a little bit of my paper and then I'm going to give my opinion, right? Well, motivating my students in the English class. This paper is about motivation in a learning English context. First, I will start by defining the word motivation. Motivation is something that can help any person to stay in action in order to get the necessary to achieve an objective or satisfy a certain need. It is known that each person has different motivations, and the degree of motivation will depend on them. However, teachers have the responsibility to motivate their students, even when students don't like the language. In a learning environment, the teacher is the person who guides students to learn, in this case, a foreign language. Furthermore, learning a new language will not come by magic. It is a process which requires a lot of effort and motivation, and here is when the teachers face one of the biggest challenges in teaching. One of the most important things to motivate students is to making them aware about the importance of learning a new language, English. I am from Quebrantadero, Morelos, which is a very small town. And in here, a lot of people immigrate to USA. So most of the people and most of the students at Tepalcingo, that is where I work, have family in USA. So that is the main reason that I find to make students aware of the importance of learning a new language. In addition, it gives you or it will give students better opportunities to get jobs maybe in the future, or also it will open students' minds to different cultures. And it also, I think, well, the conclusion is that learning a new language is a very grateful, I would say,
Ability?
Ability, yes, that makes you feel great. So
thank you.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. I give you 2 minutes and you take 3 minutes, and that's good.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
good.
sorry.
Congratulations.
Sorry.
She's Diana Patricia Pliego Martinez. She's a teacher at Tepalcingo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Quebrantadero.
Okay. Congratulations. So far, I have 2 questions. One question is for Angeles Main. You were using different ideas. You were sharing with us different ideas on how to motivate your students. My question is, do you share with your students your life experience? Do you think it can contribute to their motivation to learn English?
Yes, I think it's a great contribution because I was part of that experience. When I finished the career, I saw a paper that said that if you wanted to go to the United States to be a teacher, a Spanish teacher assistant, and I participated, and among 15 people, I was the only one who went abroad. I lived in the US for a year, and instead of being assistant, when I got there to Petaluma University, to World State World College West University, that is in Peraluma in the north of San Francisco, I was told that I wasn't going to be an assistant, that I was going to be in charge of the department. So what I tell and I worked there for a whole year, and then I traveled to Washington to be congratulated for that, for the group of people that went there. So I tell, since the very beginning, I tell my students, I'm not being presumptuous. I'm just telling you that I was part of that experience where English was the key to open that door to go to the US to be a teacher. So if you guys study English and you master the language, and if you have a high level, you have that opportunity as well as other opportunities. You can be an entrepreneur, you can have a scholarship abroad, or whatever you want to do. Even in a job, if you say, I speak English 90%, they're going to get you. They're not even going to think. If you lie and you say, oh, I speak 90%, or my level of language is 90%, and they give you a question or they start asking you questions, they're going to say, you go back, bye-bye. So you have to be honest, but the key to open certain doors, I also mentioned my brother's experience that he traveled to many countries in his job. He worked for General Motors Company, and he worked abroad just because, well, he was very competent, he was very intelligent, but he knew the language. So when you know the language and you master, you have a good linguistic competence, you're chosen, no matter what.
Perfect.
It doesn't care where school you come from.
Perfect.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And I have another question, and this question is for Norma. In your participation, you mentioned family position. What do you mean by that?
Oh, family impositions.
Imposition.
Yes.
I heard position and I said,
family
well,
impositions.
elaborate on that, please.
Okay, yeah, with children, for example, with children. I work in a private school, but in the private school where I work, I don't work in English, but I can see the teachers who try to make students acquire the language. It's difficult because, well, this is a bilingual school. Students don't want to go because they don't like. Parents says, you have to learn.
Okay.
It's not if you don't want. So maybe students are not motivated at all. But as a teacher, you have to work. Of course, motivation changes with the age, according to the age. Children, you could motivate students, in this case, children, by saying, you want to go to Disney, you have to learn because Disneyland in the United States, and you have to, if you understand what I mean, you're going to enjoy more your vacation because they are children. Maybe they don't know how useful is it in the future. If they are, in our cases, in high school, we can say you can start a degree. If you had a degree, when you start the degree, it's going to be easier because many of the articles come in English. So the motivation is another. But if you are working at university, you can tell your students, if you don't know any percentage of English, you can graduate. After you graduate, if you get a language, you can get a better job. So it's according to the ages, according to the necessities. As I said before, with children, it's more imposition. Okay. That's what family imposition.
Thank you. Well, the family position is to be forcing the students to do something. In this case, their children. Okay, thank you so much, Norma. We will continue with the second part of this panel. Remember, there are 3 parts. The second part is about how to create an environment, but let's just be precise about it. Now, to the rest of the group, these are not vacations for you. Maybe you are in the kitchen eating, maybe you're watching the movie, maybe you're watching the news, or maybe you're still in bed sleeping. No, your classmates, your peers, your colleagues are doing an excellent job, and they are working so hard to transmit valuable information. Pay attention to what they have to say. And do you have any questions? Please use the chat to type in your questions. I will filter the questions and prepare a general question for a specific panelist so that she can answer it. Now, let's go back to our presentation. In our presentation, we have the second topic. How do you create a good atmosphere? How do you create a good atmosphere? Now, we will begin with Diana Patricia Pliego, and the second person will be Norma, then Irene, And the last person to participate in this round will be Ángeles Main. So, Diana Patricia, how do you create a good atmosphere? You have 2 minutes.
Okay, well, in my experience, I could say that students may be motivated by using realia, real things in classes, reading maybe an internet article, singing hit songs, watching series, reading recipes, listening to create radio in English, watching interviews, and more. Creating a good atmosphere in the learning context is also essential. Teachers are also responsible to create a positive learning environment. It will make them feel comfortable. When a person feels good in a class, it is easier to learn. In my opinion, I think it is important to set rules in the classroom at the beginning and treat the students with respect if you want them to treat you in the same way. In addition, there are other aspects that will help to create a good environment. Encourage dialogues, ensure students interact safely in the class, monitor the class to avoid bullying maybe, use visual contact or eye contact, plan your class, that is very important, and don't forget to smile.
Congratulations. It took you a minute to complete your question. And
Okay.
let's move on to Norma Cortez. Please share with us about the second question, whenever you're ready.
Okay, the question is, how do we create a good environment? Firstly, well, before to say that, I would like to say that firstly, you have to love what you do as a teacher, of course. In this case, when you get into the classroom, you feel comfortable with yourself and you feel that you enjoy your work. When you transmit that to the students, since that you start a good environment. But if you get into the class with a face like angry, disappointed, tired, upset, something like that, it's the thing that you transmit to the students. So in this way, you are going to create a good environment that you want. Maybe, as I said, I tell my students, maybe I won't count into the class smiling, right? Maybe I don't want to expect my students says, oh, in Spanish, me toca inglés, I'm going to smile. but the idea is that when they check the schedule, says, I'm going to have my English class, I like it because I'm motivated. So because you have created this environment before, maybe it's the first class, and the first you have to put away the fear of you and the fear of the students. Since the first class, you have to make them confident and comfortable in your class in order they can ask and they're not afraid. Oh, I'm going to ask teacher, maybe she's going to get upset with me, or maybe she doesn't like I ask. So firstly, feel them confident with themselves in order to ask. Since then, I start with the good environment. Also, as we said before, create or start the classes could be by the teacher said, giving a real example about your life. Okay, you can say, oh, for example, you're going to teach vocabulary about movies. You can start, not as a class, I starting like, oh, yesterday I went to the movies and I watched a movie I didn't like. Did you watch it or something like that? No, starting like, I'm going to write the vocabulary, I'm going to write a list. Oh, it's just tired, of course. Sometimes students says, teacher is wasting time. But of course not. We're going to introduce in the time. We're going to introduce in the class in another way. I like the way you have teachers. I like how you teacher have introduced our topics because it's not like presenting like everywhere. Okay.
Okay.
So
we need to interrupt.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, you will have another chance to participate. Thank you so much, Norma. Now it's Irene's turn to speak. Go ahead, please, Irene.
Okay. Thank you, very good. Okay, as I was saying, how to create a good atmosphere is, I think for teachers, it's not so difficult. The beginning, we have to write all the time with a good attitude. And something that I want to do with my students is that, for example, when they are participating, when they are talking, when they're doing whatever activity, I mean, if they are right, if they are wrong, try don't to specify these kind of errors. I mean, maybe if you were right, okay, thank you very much, you were doing excellent, and maybe a clap for you or for all my students. And if not, okay, you can do it better. You are in this process. We have to try to give like this trust, because students, when they don't feel comfortable, they don't want to participate anymore. They don't want to do nothing. So, but sometimes it's a little bit difficult because we have a lot of students. So in these cases, it's not very easy to pay attention in each one. But I think that it's very common when we arrive with the students that they always make the same question: teacher, how did you become to be an English teacher? And I think that we start with this good experience, how we became to be a good teacher. This is like a catch the attention for this, and maybe they can be more participative, they can be more, they have to go to know all the knowledge that we can transmit in. Another thing that I think that for me is really important, I don't know if from the teacher, but for me it's really important, the presentation that we transmit to them, no? You know, very good, maybe not in 100% English, because we are, before we are teachers, we are persons, so sometimes we don't know it, but try to solve whatever question. And if we don't know, maybe say, okay, maybe I don't know, but I'm gonna research for you. And try to use reality all the time and with real examples. And sometimes at the beginning, maybe said, okay, how do you feel today? And this is a good question, because they go like in a troll, you know, with us. And in another thing that is, for me, is very important, is always try to catch the interest for them. I mean, what is important English, no? Because many people said, okay, this if you know English, you have many open doors, and it's good. It's really true. And I think that we have to say, what is the importance of learning English, no? Okay, right now you can, okay.
Perfect. Congratulations. No, you will have another chance to do that. Now it is Angela's main turn to answer to the question. Let's listen to her point of view.
Okay, this is about atmosphere that I create in the class, right? So in my personal case, when classes start, I mention a lot of successful examples of entrepreneurs and successful people that have had the chance to study a language and have been able to live many experiences abroad and in their own country, where it has made a difference in their lives. Likewise, through applying a wide range of motivating activities, taking into consideration their own students' context and letting them know how successful they can be in everything they attempt, as long as they dominate the language by having a good communicative competence. Well, what I usually do here, I will take some of my classmates' comments, and I also ask them to, I let them know the importance of English, as I mentioned in the first part of my participation. But I also tell them that they can be very successful. So what I do is, first I tell them, English is not as difficult as you think. English is even easier than Spanish. You just have to learn the structures, but it's much easier than you think. And then they tell them that mistakes are permitted in the class, that they don't have to speak perfectly, that everybody has a chance to participate, that I'm not going to punish them by participating. And I tell them the importance of English. So I start by introducing each other. We introduce each other in the class to break the ice. And then we start talking about the interest, what career they want to study. And then we get to the point where they mention how important English would be in their professional life, in their careers. And then they are brainstorming ideas of the importance of English. So I don't have to tell them exactly what it is. They give me the ideas of why English is important and how successful they can be if English can open those doors for them. So that's mainly what I do. I try to make them feel comfortable. I said, there are no better or worse students here. All of us are the same. The students who really have a higher grade can help me with the students who don't have that grade. And then I make them work. So everybody feels confident. If I'm not available because I'm attending or helping other students, the ones who have a higher level, they help me with the ones who don't have it. So they feel more comfortable because they talk with their own class and they help them with questions. So that's what I usually do to make them feel comfortable in my class.
Perfect.
And as Norma said, being motivated, if I enter to my class motivated, I transmit that motivation.
I know that. I know that.
Thank you.
Sometimes for us as teachers, it's hard to be motivated when you enter every class, but we must make an effort, no? Congratulations.
Sure.
Congratulations. Now, so far in the chat, there have been 3 persons who have participated by asking questions. I will try to administer these questions in the last part of this panel presentation. The first question was presented by Osmara. Osmara, would you like to turn on your mic and your camera so that we can see you? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I am doing great, and I am having a lot of fun listening to all the comments and trying to learn as much as I can, but it's very hard to catch up. Okay, Osmara, you have a question. Would you please ask the general question, please?
Yes, of course. And first, congratulations to all the participants because they have a very beautiful points of view. Yes, I have a question because, well, my essay was focused first in the problems that I found when I began to work in Bachilleres. I work in Bachilleres #1. So I realized that in these 5 years that I have worked here, most of the time in every group, we have at least 3 kinds of students. Those who always pay attention and they are very motivated because they want to continue a student at the university and whatever. So it's kind of easy work with them. But there are some other students who are maybe not perfect students, but always pays attention, try to, or make an effort to pass the subject. But there are other kinds of students who are not interested in anything, in any subject. Actually, they fail English and other subjects, don't deliver homeworks, they fail exams, etc. So how can I motivate, or this is a question, how can we motivate those students who are in the school just because they have to go? So
okay. That's a question. Thank you so much, Osmara, for asking this question and for participating and contributing to the enlightenment that we're looking for as teachers. Thank you. Now you can turn off your camera and your mic. And the question is, how do you deal with the students who aren't interested in learning? Members of the panel, who would like to give an answer to this question? Go ahead, Angeles.
Well, I tell them, Osmara, that they're there for a reason, that their parents send them because they trust them. And they have to do something for that. Otherwise, they can quit the school and no problem. They can go and sell something out of the streets or whatever. So I tell them, your parents send you because they trust you. So you have to do your best. That's what I usually tell them. And I focus on them and I try to talk to them. And I tell them, you don't want to be here, you can leave my classroom. No problem. I can give you 100, but you're not going to be competent in the future. So if you want to compete in the world, you really need to know the language and you have to cover all of your subjects because all of them are important. If you need any help, I'm here to help. That's what I usually do. And we can send them to the tutoring department so they can have a hand on that object, in that part of their problem that they're going through, because sometimes they don't want to be there because of a reason. They may have problems. So when they reach you and they get close to you, maybe you can tell them, and when you kind of motivate them personally, they kind of get, yeah, you're here for a reason and you're a competent person and you can make something great out of it. That's what I usually do.
So it's always good to inspire them, but to present them other reality possibilities, right? Very good.
And at the end of the course, the students tell me, thank you, Angeles, because I realize when they start passing their subjects, they say, yes, Angeles, you're right. I'm a good person. I'm competent. I'm intelligent. So the reason to be here is that I can do something out of it.
Perfect. And as teachers, we don't know the impact that we have had in thousands of our students. And maybe they are where they are right now because of us, or maybe because of something that we said. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else in the panel who would like to answer to the question, how do you deal with the students who aren't interested in learning? Go ahead, Norma.
It's almost the same. Of course, our work is motivated students. As Angela said, I also tell them, well, you are here because you have to finish maybe high school, you have to pass high school and all the subjects. But what is the difference between finish that process in a bad way, and what is the difference if you do it right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you are right and you trust on yourself, you're going to do it good. And I don't have to repeat the same task many times. So try to do your best as you can. Of course, if you don't want, well, you're going to get a good score, you're going to be disappointed, etc. Okay, as teacher said also, maybe this is not bad if you are there because your parents send you to the school, but try to finish in the best way. If you finish well, if you want, you can continue. If you don't, that's acceptable too, because that's why there are many occupations. You can be a waiter, you can be a sailor or something else, and this is not bad. But if you want to get a better life or a better job or many opportunities, try to do your best.
Perfect. Thank you so much. There is another question presented by Ruth. So, Ruth, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to turn on your camera so that we can see you?
Yes, of course.
How are you today?
Good. A little tired, but I'm
little
okay.
tired. Okay,
Yeah.
Ruth. I noticed that you've been paying attention to the panel, and
Yes.
there are lots of interesting ideas that your peers are sharing with us. But you have a question. Would you like to explain your question to the panel? And then we will ask Irene and Diana to give their opinions.
Yes, of course. Okay, my question is about what can I do when I'm teaching, explaining, giving examples, asking, and they say, okay, yeah, yes. And I ask all of the group, is it clear? Any doubt? No, nothing, teacher. Okay, let's work. And then you realize that they have a lot of mistakes because they didn't ask. And you say, why you didn't ask? Teacher, just give me a 6. Don't care. I say, come on, no, try to do it again. And they say, no, just give me a 6. And that's it. I say, come on, okay, please, ask something, do something else. That is my question.
Okay, thank you so much, Ruth. And in order to narrow the question so that the members of the panel can be very clear about what you want to say, maybe we can express the question is, how do you encourage students to state their doubts in class? Okay, or we can say, how do you deal with the students' errors? Okay, so either way, you can talk about the errors or how to motivate the students to express their doubts. Cómo expresen sus dudas o cómo lidiamos con los errores de los alumnos. So Irene Tapia, would you like to give an opinion to these questions?
First of all, I say hello, Ruth, because I'm very glad to see you. And let me tell you that I understand you very good because I was working at the same place, teacher, but right now Ruth is working. And I know exactly these problems. Well, but with the time I have learned something, Ruth, teacher Ruth, that the teachers, they learn just for 3 aims, really, just for 3 aims. The first one for me is obligation. The second one is because they have interest for something. And the third one, it is for necessity. At the beginning, I think that you have to ask them, okay, what is your aims? And in this case, you have to catch the attention. Okay, if you are here for obligation, you have to do it even, because whatever we have to do many kind of things and we have to finish it because you're going to have a result. At the second one, maybe you can ask, okay, if you have the necessity, of course, because right now English is in a global world. You are going to need it, whatever you are, to say hello, to ask food, to travel, whatever. And a third one for necessity. Right now, it is very important to know this kind of language. If you try to catch the attention at the beginning with these students, believe me that they are going to pay not 100% attention for us as a teacher, but they are going to try to understand something and try to ask them in each moment, okay, do you think that this is going to be useful for you? Try it, please try it. And imagine that right now you are not going to be here in the little town that is Amacuzac right now. No, maybe you can fly your imagination and you are going to travel. Maybe you're going to work in another place. You're going to study the university in maybe in Cuernavaca, here in Mexico City, I don't know, and you are going to need it. Even with cows, because that's what the most of students, they do. They help different kind of animals. And maybe when you grow up, you can be, I don't know, very important listener for meal, for cheese, for I don't know, and you are going to try to sell them in another countries. Need it. And I think that it's important to try to talk about this kind of aims with the students.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's invite Diana Patricia. Remember, the questions are, how do you encourage your students to state their doubts, or how do you deal with the students' errors? Diana Patricia.
Okay, well, Ruth, I would maybe give you two advice that is the things that I apply in my classes. One is, well, if they don't ask you their doubts, you will notice that they understood or not by making quizzes, short quizzes at the end. That is what I do. I go to YouTube and there are a lot of quizzes. If you are giving maybe a simple pass, you look on YouTube, simple pass quiz, and it gives you short videos, like with 10 items that they have to answer, and they are interactive, and they give time, and they are already done. You don't have to do it. And in this way, I see that they understand or not. That is one of the things I do. I don't know if you have been trying this technique to make short quizzes, but short quizzes, not long
an exam.
And the other advice that I could give you is to follow the Juan Anastacio teacher techniques. The teacher is giving us
learning a lot.
Yes, he is giving us techniques that we can use in the classroom, but maybe what we need is to change the platform. Yes, maybe, because in classroom it is not, or we don't have the same tools that he is using right now, right? So maybe changing the platform could be helpful for us.
Thank you so much, Patty. And
may I say something very brief?
Yes, go ahead.
Very brief. Ruth, what I usually do, because the question was, how do I make students participate and express their mistakes or express if they understood? I just do something very brief. I said, well, any questions about it? No questions, okay. Then rephrase what I said, because I just gave an explanation, rephrase what I said. And I said, volunteers, No volunteers, victims. Then I choose somebody, and then I ask them to rephrase what I said. Not in my own words, but I said, okay, tell me what I explained. If it's present simple, tell me the structure for simple present. And that's it. I just ask them to rephrase by asking them questions, and they have to answer. Then that's when I realize that they have questions, and maybe I have to repeat something.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I
We
do
will
that.
continue. No, we will continue with the next question. And then at the end, you can please take notes. Don't let that idea escape, Norma. Write it down, because in the next round, you will have the opportunity as panelists to share with us the third question, but it is also your closing time. So whatever else you want to add to your participations, include them now. Okay, I present to you the third question. How do you create an English environment in the classroom? How do you create an English environment in the classroom? And remember, try to include your final reflections on the topic of motivation. This is your last chance to speak. There is another question by Claudia Maldonado, but we will do it the same way we just did. But in your participation as a panelist, this is the closing part. So let's go with Angeles Main. It's your turn to speak now.
All right. Well, I mentioned that, well, everything that I have mentioned already is linked to this idea. Like I also, through applying a wide range of motivating activities, taking into consideration I had already read this. Teachers more work on students' self-esteem as well by letting them know how intelligent they are and capable they are to learn a language. This can be done by investigating how important English has been for successful people and activities that reinforce this whole idea. Well, I usually, to let them know the importance of English is not by a speech, it's just by action. So I ask them to investigate. I said, you're going to choose an entrepreneur and you're going to tell me how he reached his goal through English. And then they get motivated to know that even if people with low context, who are not rich enough, who don't have the possibilities, by learning a language, they can become successful. But they do it through examples of people, and then they choose their entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or whoever, even people, Coco Chanel or whoever they choose. So creating that environment for students to get them together or to punish them, not to punish them, to have them, to expose them to people who have been successful, they start getting motivated. So they feel a good environment and they start participating and saying, oh, Angeles, this person was very, very poor and now he's rich. How did he do it? So they get motivated. So they start working together or in teams or individually, they give presentations and they feel confident and they feel a good environment in class because they know the importance of the language, because that's the point, to motivate them to reach their goals. And as a conclusion, I'm aware of how important it is to start by motivating students to focus on the importance already mentioned. That's it.
Congratulations. You've done a wonderful job. Thank you. Now let's continue. It's Irene Tapia's turn. Remember, focus on the question and then you can express your conclusion.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that for me, something that is really important with my student is all the time try to work with real situation. I mean, they have to know that it's real, that it can happen right now, that they can need it, or maybe they can do it. That is the best. And another thing, using technology, because right now they are part of this. The students right now, they like to do, many teachers said, why they pay more attention in a cell phone than me? Because they are part of this right now. So if they like this, we have to try to teach with this, no? There are different kind of apps that we can do, that we can use it. And also try to communicate whatever thing with them in English. And they are gonna do it. If we communicate all the time or the most of time in English, they are going to do it. Maybe not at the beginning, but they are listening and they are learning. And at the end, they can do it. 1, 2, 3, many words, but they are going to do it. And another thing that I think that when they have to work in class, by doing exercise, by doing whatever kind of exposition or whatever activity, work, they like to work in person. Why? I don't know, because maybe they feel like supported. And they like this, maybe by teams, yeah, but not from many students, because it is very common that one works, maybe another's not. And all the time, teacher, all the time, try to teach and try to focus in this. If you give me permission, I'm gonna all the time to have this, like, please open the English door, students. This is really important. Please, while learning English, in each class, as Green Couple said, English is easy to learn. Find more job opportunities, easy to travel anywhere in the world, know the global language, date more people because they like too much, and give you access to more than it though from the internet. If you try to remember this each class, they are gonna do it. And I think for me it's the most beautiful that we can transmit it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. You've done a great job. Now let's listen to Norma Cortez. Please answer to the question and give us your conclusion.
It says, how do you create an English environment? First, as I said before, you have to make students feel comfortable and confident in order to participate in class. I'm going to answer this question later. But well, I tell my students, believe in yourself, believe that you can do it, okay? Because a lot of people ask, where did you study English? And you answer them, here in Mexico. It's like, you don't know. You have to go to the United States, or maybe you have to study, or you have to live there in order to know. It's not true. You can do it by yourself, studying here. You try hard, you really want to do it, okay? So as teacher Irene said, now we have a lot of resources in order to do it, in order to practice and improve our level or improve our speaking in all these skills in English. So let's imagine that we are living in a real world in English. Try to do it, everything in English. You know how to say perro, do it like this in English. All the things you know in English, do it. And then you are going to appropriate the words. This is the first thing I tell my students. And I tell them some steps like, I use this. Firstly, I tell real experience. How do I get the language? I get it when I was 22, so some years ago. And I try to create a good environment by they sharing their experiences. I don't force them to speak in English if they are beginners, because sometimes my student says, but the teacher wants, we speak everything in English. If we don't know how we're going to do it. That's why they don't want to participate. It says, well, I'm going to let you to use your first language. Okay, try to express and try to combine by making it effort. Okay, don't be afraid. So I tell them that they have to, if they want to share an experience, do it too. Okay, and I also try to present easy tasks in order they can answer easily and they feel, English is easy because this is easy. And step by step, increasing the level. Okay. And well, the other is to develop a good relationship between teacher and students between students, or students among the students, okay? Because maybe they don't want to ask me, they're going to have a good relation with their partners, they're going to ask between them. And the other, make interesting classes. Asking, for example, what would you like to see? Who's your favorite singer? And introduce the topics according what they like. Okay, maybe I won't talk about Tower Twins because some of the students don't know them. Maybe I can use it as a story class or something like that. but I ask them, who's your favorite singer? And I try to make an environment about what their real life, okay, about what they're living around them. And I think that's it. Well, and many other things.
Congratulations, Norma. It has been a pleasure listening to you and see your enthusiasm. Now we will have the last member of the panel, which is Diana Patricia Pliego. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, finally, in order to create an English environment in the classroom, it is very important to understand that immersion is required to learn a language. It means to create a space at home, in the classroom, or in your life where you only speak English. It helps you to get familiar with the language. I mean, get surrounded by the language. When you can't go abroad to do it, just make immersion part of your life by using some of the following free tools. Use media. You can use music, lyrics, look up for words or new words in dictionaries or translator, join online groups, read the newspaper or articles on internet, watch interviews on YouTube, among others. As a conclusion, motivated students in the classroom is not a piece of cake for teachers. That is why we are the first to be motivated enough to reach such a big challenge. Motivate yourself first, so you will motivate the students in a natural way without any problem. And well, that is what I wrote, but the real thing is very different because, well, immersion in the language is very difficult. Most of the times we try, as I told you, with those tools, but the students, most of the time, well, some of the time, they don't have those tools, or they don't have the correct use of them. So as the other teachers said, they use the cell phone for other things, not for the things that we are proposing to them. So maybe what we can do is to share as teachers, as we are in here in this class, we can share the things that work, that you have applied and work in the class. Maybe we need to teach with patience. Patience is very important because the students don't get immersed in the language fast. No, that is very difficult. We need to give feedback in order to motivate them. Well, sometimes because of the number of students, we have very large groups. We don't give feedback to them. And that is maybe a problem that I have. We also have to provide resources, not just give them, as I told, well, watch series. No, we have to give resources and maybe give the link, because the students don't look for the resources by themselves. We have to give them. And also we have to try to make them think of self-hype expectations and not just, well, I know past tense and that's it. I know the grammar and that's it. No, they have to use them. And also you can go to YouTube and look for dialogues that native speakers are doing. And we have also that tool for free on YouTube. And then they can do the same. Maybe that is a suggestion.
No, perfect ideas and very practical ideas. Thank you. At the beginning, I mentioned that all of you are experts, and I was not mistaken. You are experts because you have your experience, you have studied the subject, you are passionate about teaching, and you have shared with us wonderful things that maybe we can use later in our own practice. Now, if you open the chat, everybody, there is a question from Claudia Maldonado. What can we do with those who fail? Feel free to give an answer. I want to read in the chat an answer to that question. Give short answers. Elena Jaimes, type in your answer. Ruth, type in your answer. Osmara, Jovita, Julian, Herminio, what can we do with those who fail? While you do that, because later we will read all the answers, I want you to watch the following clip. It's a clip that shows theory about motivation. In her participation, Angeles Main mentioned it, not with the name of the theory, but she gave an example, and she was very precise about it. I want you to listen and watch this video and learn from it, please, and then we will have the final conclusions. It's called the Pygmalion Effect and the Power of Positive Expectations. The Pygmalion Effect and the Power of Positive Expectations. Let me check that I have chosen the sound correctly. Yes. Okay.
Does it make a difference whether your teacher believes that you are a high performer or a low performer? That you are a late bloomer, that even though you haven't demonstrated your intellectual ability, you will blossom. Or you're not a good student or you're a good student. Psychologist Robert Rosenthal and school principal Lenore Jacobson did a remarkable study some years ago in which they told school teachers, elementary school teachers, that on the basis of some psychological tests, some of their students, some of the children in their class were designated as late bloomers. Even though they hadn't shown any academic success, they are expected to bloom. The amazing thing is that in a very short time, the teachers began to treat those children differently than the other kids. Those kids began to think of themselves differently, and in the end, they actually performed significantly better than the other kids. They were transformed by the teacher's positive expectations. The opposite of Jane Elliott's study, in which teachers' negative expectations that the teacher infused led them to think of themselves as inferior. So let's see the Pygmalion effect in action in these classrooms set up by Rosenthal and Jacobson.
Positive expectations can change a person's perception of a situation just as dramatically as negative expectations. Psychologists call this the Pygmalion Effect, after the George Bernard Shaw play of the same name, in which even an uneducated ragamuffin can be transformed into a proper society lady. In an experiment conducted at an elementary school like this one, psychologist Robert Rosenthal and school principal Lenore Jacobson took the Pygmalion Effect one step further.
What we wanted to show was the extent to which teachers' expectations could actually affect pupils' intellectual performance, for example, their IQ scores. So what we did was we tested everybody in a school with a test that pretended to be a test that would predict academic blooming, so-called Harvard test of inflected acquisition, and allegedly on the basis of that test, but not really, we gave each of the teachers in the school the names of a handful of children in her classroom that would get smart in the academic year ahead. These kids' names were taken out of a hat. We chose them by means of a table of random numbers. The children themselves did not know in any direct way that teachers were holding certain expectations for them. Teachers were told not to tell the kids, and of course we didn't tell the children either. So the children never knew.
6 times something that's close to 32. Good, 6 times 5.
And then when we tested the children a year later, we found that those kids who'd been alleged to their teachers to be showing or going to show intellectual gains in fact showed greater intellectual gains than did the children of whom we'd said nothing in particular. So the kids actually got smarter when they were expected to get smarter by their teachers. We've come to feel that there are really 4 factors that operate in the mediation or communication of these self-fulfilling prophecies, especially in the classroom, but not only in the classroom. So what are these 4 things that teachers tend to do differently to kids for whom they have more favorable expectations? The first factor is the climate factor. Teachers tend to create a warmer climate for those children for whom they have more favorable expectations. They're just nicer to them, both in terms of the things they say and also in the nonverbal channels of communication. The other very important factor is the so-called input factor. That one probably won't surprise anyone. Teachers teach more material to those kids for whom they have more favorable expectations. After all, if you think a kid is dumb and can't learn, you're not going to put yourself out to try to teach them very much. 2 other factors, though, make a difference. One is the response opportunity factor. That is, kids get more of a chance to respond if the teachers expect more of them. They call on them more often. When they do call on them, they let them talk longer, and they help and shape with them the answers that the kids speak out, kind of working together to put the response out. The last is feedback. The feedback factor works in this way. As you might expect, if more is expected of a kid, the kid is praised more, positively reinforced more for getting a good answer out. But interestingly enough, is given more differentiated feedback when they get the wrong answer. One of the ways in which you can sometimes tell a little bit that the teacher does not have very high expectations for a kid is that the teacher is willing to accept a low-quality response, or it won't really clarify what would have been a good quality response. Maybe because he or she feels, well, what's the use? The kid's not smart enough to profit from this additional clarification. So those are the 4 factors: climate, input, response opportunity, and feedback.
I hope you enjoyed this video, watching this video. Why? Because they are presenting a theory that is called the Pygmalion Effect. And this comes from a myth, from a Greek myth. Pygmalion was a sculptor, and he devoted his whole life to sculpting one work of art, the most perfect woman. And he dedicated many, many hours to the perfection of that silhouette. Every day he was thinking about how to improve that work of art. And when he finally finished making that sculpture, he was in love with the sculpture. It was the image of a goddess. And then he went and embraced and hugged the statue, but it was cold because it was marble. The gods looked at him and they felt pity for him. They felt sad. So they granted the statue life, and she turned into a human being, the most perfect woman, and Pygmalion was ecstatic. That's the story. Now, in psychology, when you have an expectation that someone can do much better than what he or she is doing right now, miracles happen. And that's our art. That's what we do. That's the impact that we have in our students. Remember, there is a Pygmalion effect. If you think that your students are able to do something, you will make an effort for them to respond to that expectation. But if you consider that your group in general is flojo, or it's a group that doesn't have much to offer, you don't force yourself to work as hard. You limit your own expectations as well. You stop trying. Therefore, it is very good to create an environment in the class where students feel respected, and feel inspired. And we need to use whatever we have at hand to keep on inspiring our students. Reinforcements are important. Once they do something well, reinforce that attitude and that response. Use words of praise that really mean that. Congratulate your students when they have done something great. Now, there are two ways of moving forward in motivation. One way is the carrot, that is the prize, conductual. The other one is the stick, to punish them. Fear is a very important motivator. Okay, but something happens inside the person that is doing things because of fear, and they are not enjoying the process. Remember, when we are stressed, when we are dealing with a lot of problems around us, we don't have any space for really learning. So as teachers, we need to calm down that stress. We need to let the students feel comfortable in the class so that they are open to learning. This is the closing of this panel. And just to finish, we will read the answers that you have typed in the chat. The question is, what can we do with those who fail? Ruth says, I think we need to motivate them again. As at the beginning of the course, I'll try to do that. Okay, congratulations, Ruth. Good commitment. Elena Jaimes has written, talk to them and find a way. They can deliver the activities and give a solution to the problem. Thank you, Elena. Julian Gonzalez has written, leave them and focus on the ones who want to learn, and at the end, life will find a way. Okay, that's a position that we respect. Norma, start giving them easier tasks than in class. Maybe our expectation is to cover the program, but not all of the students reach the level we expect. So some of them go slower, right? Step by step. It does not mean that they are not able, but that they need more practice and motivation. Very good. Thank you, Norma. Rebecca Montalvo has written, give the protagonista to students. Okay, let the students be the main stars of the show and practice the self-assessment. Very good. I want to thank those people who have participated, and I have María de los Ángeles Main Ballina from Cuernavaca, Diana Patricia Pliego Martinez from Tepalcingo, Claudia Maldonado Centilla, who asked one of the questions from Tlaltizapan, Irene Tapia from Cuernavaca, Ruth Azucena Cardona Rojas from Amacuza, who asked a question, Osmara Saraí Domínguez Gallegos from Cuernavaca, who also asked a question, Norma Griselda Cortez Bruno from Xochitepec, who participated in this very interesting panel. Y si tuviera un diploma para cada uno de ustedes, se los haría llegar porque se merecen eso y mucho más. Felicidades a todos ustedes.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you feel comfortable with the class. And right now, what have we learned so far? ¿Qué hemos aprendido hasta este momento, so far? No de contenido, sino de la estructura del panel, cómo seguimos las participaciones del panel y para qué nos sirvió. Si alguien quiere abrir micrófono y comentarnos sus observaciones, puede hacerlo en español o en inglés. ¿Ok? It took us an hour 30 minutes. Go ahead.
¿Puedo participar?
Por supuesto.
Pues una felicitación, una demostración, efectivamente, las maestras, las compañeras mostraron una verdadera experiencia y sobre todo que disfrutan su trabajo como maestras de inglés. La actividad igual nos comparte pedagógicamente cómo manejar los tiempos, la actividad. Bueno, en parte de mi ensayo yo establecí al final que de ahí la importancia de la planeación, porque muchas veces pues olvidamos esos aspectos. Pero sí nos comparte mucho el aspecto pedagógico de cómo cuando tenemos claro lo que queremos darle a los alumnos, pues lo llevamos ya estructurado, vamos preparados con materiales, lo que se necesita, lo que queremos llegar al alumno. Como maestros tenemos ya el conocimiento del programa, pero también hacemos la conexión con los intereses de ellos. Y esto es lo que nos está aportando esta actividad. ¿Cuáles son los intereses? Obviamente, bueno, se maneja un nivel aquí con las compañeras más elevado, pero podemos hacerlo al nivel de nuestros alumnos, dando esa oportunidad, porque un punto en lo que coincidían las compañeras es dar oportunidad a los alumnos de participar, de apropiarse del vocabulario. Y otro punto es tomar en cuenta cuáles son esos puntos positivos del alumno y resaltárselos, generar esa confianza en sí mismo y poderles brindar que descubran ellos mismos que tienen las capacidades, solo que necesitan ponerlas en práctica. Pedagógicamente, didácticamente, los elementos se cubren, se llevan los pasos y muy buena oportunidad. Felicidades a todos.
Thank you, Rebecca. We will listen to another person participating and giving us his or her reflections on the activity we did.
Me.
Go ahead. Morelos Rocío.
En español, por
Como
favor.
gustes.
Bueno,
Adelante.
pues igual, felicidades a las compañeras. Bien dicen que la experiencia a veces hace la diferencia. Se nota muchísimo el camino que ya recorrió la compañera Ángeles, ¿sí? En todos los sentidos. También la dinámica, el dinamismo de las otras compañeras. Yo tengo el gusto de compartir con Diana, conozco más su trabajo, pero a mí en especial lo que más me gustó, aparte de que ellas están llevando, como bien decía Rebeca, la planeación, esa importancia de conocer a nuestros alumnos, que lo marca ahora con mucho énfasis, de que nadie se quede afuera, nadie se quede atrás. Me encantó que están considerando la autoestima del niño, ¿no? Yo creo que es un factor muy importante, no lastimar la autoestima del niño. Están ya trastocando esa parte emocional que empezamos apenas a trabajar en educación básica. En educación media ya llevamos más tiempo, pero en educación básica apenas estamos entrando a eso de las emociones. Y pues mis respetos y mi reconocimiento para los compañeros. ¿Qué me llevo? Me llevo muchas ideas para que las podamos poner en práctica dentro de nuestro trabajo. Gracias, compañeras, gracias, maestros. Que tengan un excelente día.
Muchas gracias, maestra. ¿Me podría decir su nombre? Porque no la encuentro en la lista.
Soy Rocío de Jesús Espejel Cuate.
Espejel, ok.
Gracias.
Ok. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, vamos a continuar con nuestra clase. We will continue with our lesson. And in this moment, let me remind you that it is very important to upload your essay. Okay, todos hicieron un ensayo. Ahora ya pueden subir su ensayo a nuestro Drive para que ya sea calificado. Entonces, no olviden hacer, por favor, esto de subir su ensayo. Let's continue with our presentation, and today's presentation continues with this. Let me ask Julian, are you there?
Yeah, sure, I'm here.
Okay, here we have a picture and we have a phrase. Would you like to read it aloud and then explain it to the group with your own words?
Yes, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream in the future of the future, I'm sorry. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Well, I guess it has to be with talks about to be focused on what are you doing at the moment. Do not worry what happened in the past. that's already gone. So don't mind working on the future because you don't even know what's going to happen. Focus on what you're doing right now. And I guess that will be the best part, right? Because we're always talking about what happened and we are worried about what's going to happen in the future. So forget about them and focus on what we're doing right now, on your present.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Okay, here we have different ways or alternatives that we can continue using with our students to reinforce the usage of the past tense. Ayer ya vimos algunas láminas de cómo podríamos estar enseñando y practicando el tiempo pasado. Vamos a mostrar algunas otras láminas que nos ayuden para el mismo objetivo. Por ejemplo, reviewing the agenda. What did you do last week? And they try to remember, or they give a phrase for something spectacular or crazy or interesting that happened on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're still using the verbs in past tense. You are using the vocabulary that we learned in previous classes, but now they can express themselves and propose specific sentences. For example, let's see, José Luis Rivera Ponce. Are you there? José Luis Rivera, are you there? No. Okay. María de Lourdes García Moreno, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please, could you share with us some ideas to complete this exercise?
Okay, all the days?
Yes, go ahead. It's just an example.
Okay. Monday, I start reading a book. Tuesday, I complete my homework.
Completed, okay.
Completed my homework. Wednesday, let me think. I ran 1 kilometer. Thursday, let me think.
Movies.
I bake a cake, a chocolate cake.
Okay.
Friday, I chat with my friends. Saturday, I stayed at home and only, I think.
Okay, I stay at home. Okay, Sunday.
And Sunday, I don't know what to say. Well, let me think.
You went to church.
Okay, I went to church.
Thank you so
Saturday.
much. Thanks, Maria de Lourdes. Okay, so this is one exercise. And remember, for example, as Angeles mentioned on the second day, if you have a list of regular verbs and you have been giving them the instructions on phonetics, on how to pronounce the final ED in the regular verb, now they have to classify them and they have to work in teams, for example, to mark the correct pronunciation for look. In past tense, it would be looked, okay? Like liked, performed, hated, looked, visited, worked, prepared, started, wanted, happened, helped. You give them the activity, students work in teams to complete it, and then we check it. And if there are some mistakes, well, then we explain again the topic. So here we have another tool. Esta es otra herramienta para practicar la pronunciación. The next thing, let's invite Jesus Enrique Arias Lezama. Are you there?
Yes, here I am.
Okay, would you like to participate?
Yes,
okay, it says here, complete these sentences using the verbs from the box, but you have to use them in past tense. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Number 1, I cleaned my house 2 days ago.
Cleaned.
I'm not cleaning
Okay.
it again. Number 2, last Saturday I went shopping and I bought a beautiful dress.
Yes,
Do you
correct.
want to see? 3, last night I stayed at home and watched TV. I was very tired and I didn't want to go out. Number 4, my brother and Tina. That's where is missing. Might as well go stay. Went to the movies last weekend.
Yeah, because we have go twice. Correct, correct. Now, the emphasis, for example, if in the previous slide, we were talking about the specific pronunciation of the ED form in the regular verb, then we need to emphasize whenever we find the ED here, it is cleaned, stayed, watched, okay? And then we have two irregular verbs. Congratulations and thanks for participating, Jesus Enrique.
Welcome.
Okay, the next person will be Blanca Rogelia Ayerdi Fuentes. Are you here, Blanca?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please, here we have a list of questions to try to remember when we were younger and to think about the teachers that we had, teachers that made an important impact in our lives, okay? So okay. It says here, who were your elementary teachers? Who was your best friend from high school? What was your favorite subject in junior high school? What was your favorite song when you were a teenager? You can choose one of the questions, any question, and give an answer to it.
Okay, so...
in any order, just one.
Who were your elementary teachers? The first one.
Okay.
So my elementary teachers I had, they were Perla, Robert, and Willie. I remember them because they were so kind with me, and they gave me nice classes, and I remember that they were so good teachers. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's invite Marta Mireille Jacobo Hernandez. Are you there, Marta?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you like to choose any of the questions and give the answer?
Yes, number 2, it's fine. Who was your best friend from high school? It was Claudia. She's my best friend. She still my friend.
Would you like to say anything else about Claudia?
Oh, she's a great person. Well, sometimes not. She's a little bit shy, but she's very friendly and lovely.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marta, for participating. How do you pronounce your second name?
Mireille.
Mireille. Okay, thank you. Now, Elena Jaimes Martinez, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you like to choose one question and give the answer to it?
Well, the last question is, what was your favorite song when you were a teenager? Well, I don't know why, but I liked a lot a song that its name was Agujetas de color de rosa.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but I like it very much to sing that song.
Okay, thank you so much, Elena, for participating. Let's continue. On the next slide, here we have the past tense with the verb to be, and we are contrasting the present and the past. So we are highlighting the changes that occur. For example, this is a verb in present tense, and the same verb, but in past tense is this. So we use red and we underline that. So when you use material to your students and you want them to focus on something specific, my advice is that you use a different color and underline it so that they can direct their eyes or their attention to that point. It says here, she is a teacher now, but some time ago, she was a student. She is very punctual. We're talking about the present, but she wasn't very punctual when she was a student. So they can check the differences. And of course, you have to complete the exercises in your manual, in your PDF, page 16. Acuérdense que les estoy compartiendo cada día estas presentaciones electrónicas y ahí vienen las respuestas. Si no quieren cansarse resolviendo los ejercicios, simplemente los copian y son los ejercicios que están en la página 16 que hay que subir a nuestra plataforma como un ejercicio para evaluación. ¿Ok? Now, vamos a separarnos en pequeños grupos durante 20 minutos. ¿Por qué? Porque la actividad no permite más tiempo, es una actividad muy breve. Van a realizar 2 acciones, 2 actividades, y las pueden ver en su manual, en el PDF, en las páginas 18 y 19. Así que no necesitan tomarle fotografía, porque todos ya lo tienen en su PDF. The first activity is called a story. You have here a series of pictures that describe a story. First, you need to organize, you need to order the story. But we are practicing the past tense. So once we order the story, we need to rewrite the story. But pay attention, because the exercise is giving you the verbs in present, but you need to use the verbs in past. Okay? This is the first activity to do in teams. The second activity is, let me show it to you. Okay, just give me a second. This is the second activity. There are some mistakes, some errors that were put on purpose. And we're talking about the 19th century. This is a family scene. Okay. You will begin all your sentences with in 1850. And then you will have to say affirmative or negative sentences in past, depending on what you see on the picture. For example, here we have jeans. By 1850, people didn't wear jeans. Okay, so there is the first mistake. Now the verbs that we're using are watch, use, drink, eat, listen to, and type. Okay, so try to make the sentences. ¿Queda claro qué es lo que vamos a hacer en equipo?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
Entonces,
Yes.
voy a separarlos.
How many sentences in activity number 2?
There are 2 activities. They are in your PDF book on pages 18 and 19. Okay?
Yes, but how many sentences?
I didn't hear your question.
What page would you like to repeat them, please?
Okay, the pages are 18 and then 19. Do you see them?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you will have 20 minutes. That means 10 minutes for the first exercise and 10 minutes for the second exercise. How many sentences per page? The first exercise is 3, 6, 9, 15 sentences in the first page. And in the second one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Al terminar los 20 minutos, regreso a todos a la sala común en plenaria para que revisemos los trabajos. Se van a asignar de manera automática. Acepten la invitación en cuanto les llegue y nos ponemos a trabajar en estas 2 páginas. Es un ejercicio súper fácil. Let's go and do it.
Thank you.
Irene, acepte la invitación para participar. Irene, ¿me escucha? Ok. Okay, now we're back. Thank you. I guess this activity was very challenging, right? Because some of the pictures were confusing and it generated a lot of discussion. Some of you really got into using English to communicate and to solve the problem. Perfect. Some teams didn't finish the second activity. They took like the 30 minutes to complete just the first activity. But we will start sharing what you did. So let's begin. Who wants to present the work for the first activity? Page 18.
Me, our team.
Your team. Okay, Rebecca, go ahead. You can share the screen and we will listen to you. And the other teams, please notice what they do and maybe they did it differently from yours. Okay, we're watching your Zoom page. A lo mejor escoger la pestaña donde está el manual, porque lo hiciste en el PDF, ¿no? Dale clic ahí en la siguiente pestaña donde está el manual. There. Okay. So let's go to page 18, please. Present the work. Rebeca, ¿quieres tú leer o alguno de tus compañeros va a leer mientras tú muestras?
I can read, Miss Rebecca, if you want.
Okay.
Okay, in order, right?
Yes, yes.
Please, Miss Rebecca, if you put not at all. Okay, he switched off the light. He went to sleep. He heard a noise. I can see the number 4. He woke up. He switched on the light. 6. He got out of bed. He put on his dressing gown. 8. He opened the door. He went downstairs. He listened at the door. He opened the door. He saw a cat outside the window. He heard, oh, sorry. He went upstairs. He took off his dressing gown. And yes, he got into bed.
Okay, thank you. Let's invite another team to present the story and find and check, please check if there are any differences. Who else? Another team.
We can show it. We have a different order.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me show you this one. Okay.
Remember, compare your job, compare your work.
Okay, share screen. Okay. Oh, it doesn't let me share. Oh, okay. Okay.
I didn't share.
No, Angel's main is sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't control here.
That's okay.
I click on share and it doesn't let me. I don't know why. Okay,
Really?
let me close it up again. Wait a second.
Yeah, you should be allowed.
It doesn't let me. I don't know why. Oh, here. Sorry.
There.
Share. Okay.
Now we can see your screen.
Okay, excellent. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. First, we said that he took off his dressing gown because he got home. Then he, no. He took off his dressing gown. Then number 2, it's kind of blurry for me.
Okay, you are presenting the material. If you want other people to participate to read aloud the sentences,
Yes, my class
so that you don't
told me
force
with
your
number
sight.
2.
So that you don't
Yes,
force your
it's just
sight.
that it's kind of blurry.
Could someone in the team help out?
Oh, he put up his dressing. I think he's something like a pajama. Number 3, he went upstairs because he was going to go to bed. Then he took off his, okay, wait. He got into bed. Then he turned off the light. Then he went to sleep. Then number 7, he woke up because he heard the noise, which is number 8, he heard the noise. Then he turned on the light. Then he then he got up. Then he opened the bedroom door. Then he went downstairs. Then he put on, I skipped the letters, right? The words. He approached the door, I think. And then he saw a cat. And then, I can't read. It's just that since I copied he saw a cat outside the house or something. So well, that's the order that we have.
Okay. So your story ends when he opens the window or he sees a cat outside the window, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We were kind of thinking if it was the other way, if number 15 was when the cat is on the window, and then number 15 is when he saw a cat outside the, I don't know.
Okay, so
yeah,
maybe the story.
We just got confused in the last 2 ones.
Perfect, but it generated discussion, and that's the point. Remember,
Yes.
sometimes the product, the end of the product is not the important part that we as teachers are looking for, but we want to focus on the process, depending on the idea that we want. Perfect.
And the students are sharing idea and communicating.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what we want.
Sharing. Thank
Perfect,
you.
Perfect. Now, just to compare, we have seen so far Rebecca's work and Angel's main work, their teams. Now, is there another team who would like to present this activity so that we can compare?
Me.
Okay,
Yeah,
Claudia,
we're ready. Okay.
Are you both in the same team, Julian and Claudia?
No, I'm not.
We're in a different team. Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Claudia, and then we'll let Julian and his team present.
Okay, so first we thought that number 1 is he's switching the light to sleep. Then he woke up. Number 4, he heard a noise. And number 5, he switched on the light. And 6, he got out of bed. 7, he put on his dressing gown. 8, he opened the bedroom door. 9, he went downstairs. He listened at the door. Then 11, he opened the door. 12, he saw a cat outside the window. Then 13, he went upstairs. And then he took off his dressing gown. And finally, he got into bed.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's listen to Julian Gonzalez and his team.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Lourdes, could you please share? All right. Okay, so what the team came up with is, well, this in this order. The first one, we call him the guy Ramiro. So since he didn't have a name, so they say it was Ramiro. So Ramiro got into bed, number 1. Then he woke up and he heard a noise, number 3. Number 4, Ramiro switched on the light. Number 5, he got out of bed. 6, he put on his dressing Gown.
Gown, no room.
We got a typo right there.
That's okay.
Dressing gown. Number 7, he listened at the door. 8, he opened the bedroom door. He went downstairs. Number 10, he saw a cat outside the window. He opened the door. I think that was. Okay, number 12, he went upstairs. 13, he took off his dressing gown. And 14, he switched off the light. And 15, he went to bed. He went to sleep. I'm sorry.
Okay, so it makes logic. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, now let me share with you my responses and let's see if we have something similar. This is the story. So
how can I get the pin in my camera?
How can you what?
I have a pin to project my, yes, I am.
You have a pin? I don't know. You see, no, se llama anclaje. Es para que no se mueva. Es para que no se mueva tu imagen dentro de todas las demás ventanas.
May I take out? Thank you very much. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me share it with you. Okay, so this is the story. The sequence that I prepared is the following. He woke up. Compare, compare. He heard a noise. The next. Frank woke up. In this case, his name is Frank, not Ramiro, but okay. Frank woke up. He heard a noise. He switched on the light. He got out of bed. He put on his dressing gown. He opened the bedroom door. He went downstairs. He listened at the door. He opened the door. He saw a cat outside the window. He went upstairs. He took off his dressing gown. He got into bed. He switched off the light, and then he went to sleep. So remember, there are different approaches to the story, depending on your logic and depending on the discussion that you had in your teams. Now let's review the other sentences. There are some deliberate mistakes in this 19th century family scene. For example, in 1850, people didn't wear jeans. And here we have other options. Please, could you please compare these sentences to your sentences? In 1850, people didn't watch TV. In 1850, people didn't use vacuum cleaners. In 1850, people didn't drink Coke. In 1850, people didn't eat chips. In 1850, people didn't listen to rock and roll. And in 1850, people didn't type letters. These are some of the sentences that you could have included in your task, but they are not necessarily, they don't have to be exactly the same. You just keep the ideas. Okay, so let's see. In this moment, I stop sharing. Platiquemos sobre los ejercicios que acabamos de hacer. ¿Qué aprendimos de ellos y para qué nos pueden servir en nuestras clases? Pages 18 and 19. Any opinions? Juan Carlos, go ahead.
Yes, yes.
¿Yo puedo opinar?
Por supuesto que sí, adelante.
Ok, bueno. Yo pienso que todas esas actividades son enriquecedoras para nuestra práctica docente. Podemos aplicar desde lo más fácil hasta lo más difícil para que nuestros niños vayan comprendiendo el idioma, así como su servidor. Ahorita ya me he aprendido varias palabras que tenía muchísimo tiempo que no las escuchaba. Entonces lo mismo pasa con los chicos. Entre más vocabulario tengan, entre más actividades, como mencionaba el día de ayer, profesor, que se haga interesante para que él busque no nada más con lo que nosotros le demos en la clase, sino que él también sea autodidacta y pueda buscar fuera de la importancia del idioma, hacerle ver la importancia del idioma. Yo siempre les he dicho que sabiendo inglés, pues se les abren más las puertas. Como profesional, yo lo he visto que sabes inglés y se te abren más puertas, más bolsa de trabajo. No nada más aquí en México, en el extranjero. Entonces, todo eso nos ayuda, estas actividades, para reflexionar realmente cómo estamos nosotros dando nuestra clase y de ahí partir para que nosotros podamos ver el avance de nuestros chicos. Yo estas actividades las encuentro muy atractivas, más esta última de la historia, ¿verdad? Porque nosotros, en mi caso, yo aprendí el inglés, me enseñaron el inglés de la manera tradicional, de la manera puro escribir, traduce, escribe y traduce, escribe y traduce. En la actualidad sabemos que esto pues ya no debe de ser, es parte de, pero no debe de ser una práctica docente de esa manera. Yo creo que una de estas actividades me ha enriquecido la de la historia que acabamos de ver hace ratito. Muchas gracias, profesor. De verdad, le agradezco por su profesionalismo y de verdad está muy interesante. A mí me está interesando mucho y pues voy a seguir estudiando inglés porque no me puedo quedar nada más en nivel básico, ¿verdad?
Excelente.
Quiero estar escuchando lo que ustedes alcanzo a entender unas palabras pero quisiera yo hablar así
Muy bien, maestro Juan
fluido,
Carlos.
como las maestras, como los maestros que estoy escuchando, que lo hablan fluido, o sea.
Se está cortando la comunicación, maestro Juan Carlos.
Ya me
seguramente.
apasioné, próximamente ya estar en otro.
Ok.
Gracias.
No, thank you. El maestro Juan Carlos seguramente está en tránsito y por eso lo escuchamos ahí con un poco entrecortado. Muchas gracias, maestro Juan Carlos. Is there someone else who would like to give a reflection about these activities, the two last activities of today?
I'll say something.
Okay, Julian, go ahead.
Well, as a teacher, as we know, many students along the way. Every semester we got different people, obviously different backgrounds and different stories to hear or to tell. We need all types of material to work with them. I mean, since we don't have certain let's see, I would say I don't know, maybe topics to follow or a rule to go on besides your lesson plan. All the things that you can get your hands into talking about material for them are going to be interesting, right? Are going to be very important for them in using this type of stories when you talk about the past, when you want to talk about the sequence, and you can work with them in a lot of different ways, not just changing the rules. You can change the instructions. You can use it to work with a lot of team topics and getting them involved in something, and that will be one of our main goals to do it, right? And one of the main purpose that we have supposed to be working with them. I really like this material. I hope we have a chance to share maybe a booklet or a page where we can compare, and we say, I can take this video and I like this picture, I can use it in my classroom. This one seems a little bit harder for them, so I'm going to use it in first semester. Then this one is going to be for sixth semester. So we can be in touch. We can have different types of materials, obviously for different types of levels that we have. But in this case, it was really outstanding challenge, even for us as teachers, you know. Like, well, first of all, he woke up, but hey, hold on, when did he wake up? He has to hear the noise. Yeah, which one goes first? So imagine them working on that material in the classroom. It would be very interesting to hear the different Numbers, yes. Thank you. That's all.
No, congratulations, Julian, for sharing your thoughts with us. Ok, de esta manera estamos concluyendo nuestra sesión del día de hoy. El día de hoy me voy a retirar un poquito más temprano porque tengo que atender ahorita unas llamadas pendientes, urgentes, pero estamos cumpliendo con lo que habíamos planeado para el día de hoy. Quiero hacer el recordatorio a todos de lo importante que es que cumplamos con subir nuestros trabajos al Drive. Nos queda como tarea la página 16 de nuestro PDF, la página 18 y la 19, son estos dos últimos ejercicios. Si lo hicieron en conjunto, asegúrense de solicitar a la persona que tenga el trabajo finalizado que se los comparta para que cada quien sea el responsable de subir su material. El día de mañana vamos a ver un tema muy interesante y es un tema que despierta a todos los maestros un gran reto, porque una manera de enganchar a los alumnos en aprender vocabulario, en que mejoren su pronunciación, en que expandan el uso real del idioma, es cuando utilizamos canciones. Así que me encantaría mañana escuchar de todos ustedes cómo utilizan sus canciones o canciones en inglés en el aula. Me encantaría que entre todos podamos generar una lluvia de ideas de las mejores estrategias que nos han funcionado para utilizar canciones en el aula. No vayan desde lo hipotético o lo que dicen los libros. Comenten lo que ustedes hacen. Compártanos lo que les funciona para que entre todos podamos enriquecer nuestra práctica cotidiana. Entonces, esas son las tareas del día de hoy. Solamente subir sus archivos. Acuérdense de subir su ensayo que hicieron el día de hoy también. El resto de la clase se va a quedar con ustedes la maestra Blanca Ruán y ella les va a presentar cómo van hasta este momento su entrega de trabajos para que ustedes puedan entonces ya dedicarse a cumplir con lo que tengan pendiente. ¿Hay alguna duda antes de que yo me retire de la sala?
No, ninguna, prof.
No, maestro.
Al contrario, muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Les agradezco a todos. ¿Sí?
Thank you.
Nada más para confirmar y verificar. Ahora escuchaba una página nueva. ¿Qué te parece si revisamos antes de que te retires esta tablita que va a servir como lista de cotejo para nuestros compañeros y tener la certeza del cumplimiento de todas nuestras actividades? Díganme. Ajá.
Déjame reviso nada más para estar seguro porque sí debe de estar ahí. Sí debe de estar ahí la página 16. Solamente falta ahí la número 16.
Ok.
Pero la revisamos. Tengo aquí la lista de todos los trabajos que debemos de cumplir. Y el primero que tenemos es la página 3 del PDF. El segundo fue el trabajo que hicieron de Food Pyramid. El 3 fue la historia de Octapody. La 4 fue la página número 8 del PDF. Después la página número 12 del PDF. Luego fue Telling a Story, la historia de los dos burros. Ahí está, como número 6. Enseguida Essay, Motivating Students, que fue lo que se presentó el día de hoy. La página 16, ¿nos hace falta ahí? Después, la página 18, página 19. How to use an English song in your classes. Aquí no tienen que escribir gran cosa. Es nada más ideas, como notas. ¿De acuerdo? Todavía no la van a subir porque mañana vamos a discutir el tema de cómo utilizar una canción en inglés y ahí mismo vamos a generar el producto. Ese va a ser el siguiente trabajo. Luego la página 22 del PDF y la página 23 del PDF. Pueden adelantar lo que gusten para ya ir subiendo. Lo que sí es muy importante es tener las 13 actividades completas para tener la acreditación del curso. Así de que es muy importante que no se les vaya ninguna. Si ustedes llevan como una lista de cotejo, como lo tiene aquí la maestra, podrán darse cuenta que ya subieron y que les queda pendiente. Entonces, hasta ahorita ya debe de estar subido hasta el número 6 y lo del día de hoy sería el 7, el 8 y el 9. O no, hasta el 10, porque son las actividades que tenemos. ¿Sí? Entonces, desde ahí ya tendríamos que tener, para finalizar el día de hoy, hecho. Y nos quedan nada más 3 pendientes para mañana.
Excelente.
Bueno, si quieres abordar tu tema, me puedo quedar 2 minutos más escuchando.
Ok, muchas gracias. Bueno, compañeros, voy a poner esta tablita en una de las carpetas, quizás en el día jueves, el día 4, la sesión 4, para que ustedes puedan tenerla a disposición y hacer un trabajo de evaluación de manera conjunta. Vamos a dejar de compartir esta imagen. Díganme si estamos viendo ahorita nuestro drive y nuestra hoja de cálculo. Sí lo estamos viendo, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Ok. Bueno. Como ustedes pueden ver, aquí tenemos el registro sistémico de todas las tareas que ya se han subido, incluso en las fechas que corresponde de acuerdo a cada sesión. Voy a hacer un filtrado. Voy a dejar de compartir para hacer el filtrado y organizar de manera personal para que podamos ver qué cantidad hasta este momento ustedes han subido al Drive y darnos una idea relativamente asertiva de qué elementos nos estarían faltando.